When was the last time you saw the entire IRS bureaucracy trembling? Because that's exactly what's happening right now. President Trump just dropped a bombshell. It's sending shockwaves through the halls of power. He's not just reforming the IRS, he's talking about eliminating it entirely. And remember those 88,000 new IRS agents that Biden hired? They're either getting pink slips or Border Patrol badges. But here's the part they don't want you to know. Trump's no tax on tips announcement in Las Vegas isn't just about helping workers. It's the first step in a complete overhaul of how America thinks about taxation. And just like President Trump is lowering the pressure of taxation on Americans, it's time to talk about lowering your blood pressure naturally. An incredible 2024 study reveals that nearly half of all Americans have high blood pressure, much like how half of Americans are stressed about IRS overreach. That's why I trust this powerful formula packed with clinically proven all-natural ingredients. Visit Boost with Gary today and take control of your health while Donald Trump takes control of our tax system. Get up to 40% off during the special offer. That's boostwithgary.com. Take back your health just like we are taking back our tax system. My friends, I just got to say this. Personally, this is an issue that is very close to my heart. As you know, in my early days of street activism, working alongside Aaron Russo and Congressman Ron Paul, and pushing back against the IRS and the Federal Reserve System and the Fed, taxation is theft. These are my core beliefs. And now we finally have a president with the balls to enact these positions. And the IRS needs to go. Check out this meme right here. Yeah, here it is. The Department of Defense, we lost $2 trillion. The IRS, okay, we spent $1.75 billion in Ukraine. IRS, Venmo, mom sent you $601. Accept or decline. The IRS is like, yeah, we're going to go after you, right? That sums it up in a nutshell. And here's what President Trump just said a few hours ago while he was meeting with congressmen in Miami. Time for the United States to return to the system that made us richer. He is not holding off. He's not holding back on this. He has been talking about this. He was talking about on the campaign trail, and now he's been elected. He's moving forward with this agenda. And this is the message he gave to Congress, Republicans in Congress today in Miami. Listen.
America is going to be very rich again, and it's going to happen very quickly. It's time for the United States to return to the system that made us richer and more powerful than ever before. Do you know the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States, relatively speaking. In other words, relatively. And they set up the Great Tariff Commission of 1887, and this commission had one function: what to do with all the money that we took in. It was so enormous that they had no idea. It was a blue ribbon committee. It was set up 1887, and what to do with all of the money that we had. And again, Teddy Roosevelt was a beneficiary, because when McKinley was killed, he took over this vast sum of money, and he did all of those national parks and all of the other things. And I'm not knocking him, but he was given a vast amount of money, and that was all made through tariffs. We had no income tax. The income tax came in 1913. As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Does that make sense, right?
The External Revenue Service is what he plans to call it. And did you hear about this? Now, this came out last year, but we're talking about the IRS, and we need to really impress just how dangerous this organization is. The IRS is using artificial intelligence to access bank accounts of American citizens without a warrant. Now, this was during the Biden administration. Listen.
Have access. What we have learned is that the IRS, in fact, has been using AI to access bank accounts of American citizens without any kind of a search warrant, or even without any specific claim that they have committed a crime.
Now, this is Senator Harriet Hageman of Wyoming.
So this was something that was discovered by an undercover journalist, and what they found is that the IRS has claimed that they have access to every single person's bank account. This person also indicated that they've been working with the Department of Justice and that they have absolutely no problem whatsoever going after the little guy to make sure that they are paying their taxes. This is such a blatant violation of the Fourth Amendment that Jim Jordan and I sent a letter to the IRS demanding that they provide additional information about what they are doing with AI and what they are doing to protect the civil rights of American citizens.
So, Congresswoman, what's the end game here? Because at the end of the day, you can't put the AI genie back in the bottle, and it's so easy to use these technologies in the way that you're suspecting the IRS is. How do you protect American citizens and our constitutional rights?
Well, one of the things is we need a new administration in November, because this administration has been absolutely lawless in terms of its surveillance of us, of members of Congress, of local officials, of people who are protesters, of voters. This administration has completely ignored the Bill of Rights, whether it's the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment. They have weaponized the government against us. So one of the things we have learned.
And now we do have a new administration who is going after it. The crowd goes wild as Trump announces no tax on tips and teases elimination of the income tax. President Trump visiting Las Vegas, no tax on tips. He's like a rock star. The guy is a rock star wherever he goes. I have the clip. Let's go to it. No tax on tips. President Donald Trump hinting he may terminate the IRS.
An impact on tipped income. Your tips will be 100% yours. Won't that be? Joe, Governor, do you think that had an impact on the election? You do? Like what, a half a point? Pretty big. You had an impact, let me tell you. Nationwide, over 4 million workers depend on tip income, including an estimated 700,000 single moms. And here in Nevada, we will have a quarter, think of it, a quarter of the typical restaurant workers' pay comes from tips. I didn't know that much. That's a lot. You haven't been reporting them for the last 10 years. So here's our deal. We're going to have no tax on tips from now on, but we're going to go after you viciously for all the money you didn't report for the last 10, 15. We're going to go after you for all the money you didn't report for. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. I have to say to the fake news, because they're going to say Trump is after all restaurant workers. Many of these workers are some of the very citizens who were hit hard and very hard by the ravages of the Biden economy, which was inflation. When I think of Biden, I think of incompetence and inflation. Not being nice by saying years ago. On day one, I immediately halted the hiring of any new IRS agents. You know, they hired or tried to hire 88,000 new workers to go after you, and we're in the process of developing a plan to either terminate all of them or maybe we'll move them to the border. I think we're going to move them to the border. Well, they're allowed to carry guns. You know, they're so strong on guns, but these people are allowed to carry guns, so we'll probably move them to the border. Yeah. She said no tax on it. How about just no tax? We can do that. You know, if the tariffs work out like I think, a thing like that could happen, if you want to know the truth. You know, years ago, 1870 to 1913, we didn't have an income tax. What we had is tariffs, where foreign countries came in and they stole our jobs, they stole our companies, they stole our product.
They ripped us off, and they used to do numbers, and then we went to a tariff system, and the tariff system made so much money. It was when we were the richest from 1870 to 1913. Then we brilliantly came in with an income tax. No, we don't want others to pay. Let's have our people pay. And then you had the Depression in 1928, 1929. I call it 1929. That was a bad time, but you didn't have tariffs, and you had tariffs that ended in 1913. But it was the richest our country ever was. That was President McKinley. In fact, we're renaming the mountain McKinley in Alaska.
Buckle up, baby. Buckle up. It is happening. Here's that clip. This is the clip of that IRS agent. O'Keefe Media Group dropped it. Representative Harriet Hageman highlights OMG's undercover investigation during a House Judiciary Committee hearing. The investigation revealed an IRS official admitting that AI is used to surveil American bank accounts without warrants.
Attorney General Garland, in March, Chairman Jordan and I sent you an oversight letter requesting documents and information following the release of an undercover video indicating that the DOJ was working with the IRS to use artificial intelligence to surveil bank accounts of Americans in a clearly unconstitutional manner.
So actually right now we have a system that uses AI.
It uses AI?
Yep, to target like potential like abusers.
Is it constitutional to do that?
I doubt it.
The undercover video featured an IRS official privately admitting that the IRS had been using AI to spy on Americans' bank accounts en masse in real time.
They see the amount in your bank account, yes.
Oh my God.
The IRS official further stated that the Department of Justice and Inspector General controlled this AI-powered warrantless surveillance system, not the IRS.
The Department of Justice and Inspector General, all those people are like controlling it, not the IRS.
You said the IRS doesn't control the AI? Who does?
The Department of Justice and the Inspector General.
Attorney General, would you agree with me that if the federal government were operating this form of financial surveillance program, there would be serious Fourth Amendment as well as other statutory and civil rights implications, considering that there is no individual probable cause and no search warrants are being obtained?
I would be stunned if the Justice Department has the kind of AI
capabilities
that you're talking about.
Would you agree with me that would you agree with me
to learn about this?
Would you agree with me that if they were engaging in that kind of surveillance, it would have serious Fourth Amendment implications?
I can't understand the kind of surveillance that you're talking about. Fourth Amendment prevents unreasonable searches and seizures without a warrant. If that's what we're doing, then of course that would violate the Fourth Amendment.
Okay, so I would request that you go back and read the letter that Jim Jordan and I sent to you. That might clear up your confusion just a bit.
Yep, buckle up, man. Thank God he's no longer there. Okay, what else have I got? Okay, let's talk about this IRS income tax thing going away. This is on the inauguration day, but we got to revisit it because this is the declaration of war against the IRS.
At the start of the 20th century, America was the richest country on earth, and we defended our workers from unfair trade policies with tariffs. And we only made money. We had no income tax. All we did is charge other countries and foreign companies, if they wanted to sell to America, you had to pay for entry. Okay, so imagine this. The U.S. government had no income tax. Americans got to keep all their hard-earned money, and foreigners paid the price. So now, what's happened? We have the Internal Revenue Service. That means charge us internally. Now imagine politicians who can't even balance their own checkbook, taking our money, and what do they do every year? Let's just take more, let's just take more, let's just take more. So this is how Donald Trump is going to end it and fix it. Last week, He announced that we're going to return America to greatness by creating, and today is its birthday, the External Revenue Service. So if you're always wondering, is some bureaucrat going to cut your benefits? Not under Donald Trump. Not under Donald Trump. It means foreign companies are going to pay if they want to come and sell products to the wealthiest country on earth. And if they want to compete with American workers, then let's just not tax our American workers.
Not tax our American workers. That is what we need in this country. Oh, yeah, baby. President Trump should ask Congress to audit the IRS. If the IRS can't pass an audit, it should be completely replaced with a flat tax of 3%. That's what Ian Yeager says. The people's president, after his no tax on tips event at Circa in Las Vegas, Trump stopped at the casino floor at the craps tables to meet supporters. How cool is that? Trump floats gutting the IRS. Fox News reports moving agents to the border armed with guns. How about just no tax? He asked the cheering Las Vegas crowd. President Donald Trump, no tax on tips. IRS agents either terminate all of them or move them to the border. An IG report finds that 90% of IRS audits under Biden's weaponized IRS went after people making less than $400,000 a year. 90%. Remember when they told you it was to get the billionaires? Well, they lied. They always lie. Most billionaires are Democrats. Listen to this. IRS auditing taxpayer spree from Fox News. Let's see what else we got here on this topic. Oh, President Trump announces the ERS, External Revenue Service. The next step is to abolish the IRS. Trump reveals the only reason we're paying an income tax in America is because U.S. politicians are paid off by foreign countries.
We're putting a lot of pressure on them. And he speaks.
This is from the Joe Rogan Experience. This is the interview that really just went around the world and just further cemented Trump's victory that we're now celebrating.
Prices, tariffs. And he'd speak like that, but he was right. And then around in the early 1900s, they switched over stupidly to, frankly, an income tax. And you know why? Because countries were putting a lot of pressure on America. We don't want to pay tariffs. Please don't. You know, they, believe me, they control our politicians. If you look at the kind of numbers that these guys make then and now, but we had a commission meeting in the I think it was 1887. Think of this problem. We were so rich. We had so much money. We didn't know what to do. So they set up a blue ribbon commission on tariffs. And the sole purpose is what to do with all the money we had. We were so rich because we were taxing other people for coming in and taking our jobs. And China does it. That's what China did. If you want to open a factory and sell cars. If you build a factory here or have a factory, they don't take our cars. They wouldn't take our cars. But if you build a plant in China, you can do that. Elon did that. By the way, Elon is great. That guy is such a great guy. I think you're a fan of Elon. Him. He is from a different planet. He's the greatest guy. That rocket coming in.
That rocket coming in. Yes, he loves to take a look at Elon Musk rocket launches. Where's the, okay, so there's the other clip. There's this one, too. That's piggybacking. What's this one say?
For instance, the financial situation of the United States. When I talk to my conservative friends right here, they always tell me that the problem is high taxes. But they're wrong. Of course, high taxes are extremely high here in the United States. I give you that. You're right in that. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is not the high taxes themselves, but the fact that they are not even really funding the government. But even those high taxes, higher than a lot of places in the world, but even those taxes are really funding the government. So who's financing the government? Government is financed by treasury bonds, paper. And who buys the treasury bonds? mostly the Fed. And how does the Fed buy them? By printing money. But what backing does the Fed have for that money being printed? The Treasury bonds themselves. So basically, you finance the government by printing money out of thin air. Someone could ask, well, so if the government can print unlimited amounts of money out of thin air, why did they collect taxes? I mean, in theory, it would make sense, right? If they can print unlimited amounts of money, why would they need taxes for? The answer is simple, but it's very shocking. The real problem is that you pay high taxes only to uphold the illusion that you are funding the government, which you are not. It's shocking, but it's true. The government is funded by money printing, paper backed with paper, a bubble that will inevitably burst. The situation is even worse than it seems, because if most Americans and the rest of the world were to become aware of this farce, confidence in your currency would be lost, the dollar will fall, and the Western civilization with it. If the next president of the United States doesn't make the necessary policies and structural changes, sooner or later that bubble will burst. There's still time. You don't have to make the same mistakes we did in the 60s and the 70s. You can still jump before the water boils.
You can still jump before the water boils, folks. I'm going to show you a picture of Angie and I back in the day when he said, why pay taxes when they can just print money? This is a photograph. I'm getting it ready here for you. It's loading right now. Angie and I used to march in the streets, and there's a photograph that went viral. I remember seeing it all the time. It showed up in my news feeds. It showed up in my emails every single day. It was amazing. And I'm like, there's Angie. She's in my news feed again from this photograph. Oh, where is it? It's loading. Here it is. Your post was made. I just posted it just for you guys just now on my X feed. And I think this is a beautiful way to look at this moment again. Here it is. Take a look at this picture. There it is. There's Angie and me in Chicago Federal Plaza. Why pay taxes when they can just print money? End the Fed. Restore the Republic. Oh, man. So to hear this kind of rhetoric, this kind of message, this kind of policy that's being presented from this administration, it is a breath of fresh air. And this just goes to show you how long we have been fighting this fight. And this was a very long time ago. I still have that shirt. I love that shirt. So what we're seeing is unprecedented. A president willing to challenge not just the IRS methods, but its very existence. Trump's vision of replacing income tax with high tariffs isn't just a policy change, it's a complete reimagining of American taxation. The establishment's panicking as Trump proposes moving thousands of IRS agents to border security, effectively transforming tax collectors into border protectors. But here's the question that's making Washington insiders very nervous. If America could function for most of its history without an income tax, why are they so desperate to convince you that we can't live without it now? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Make the IRS cry with our bold new MAGAvengers collection available now at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.